destroy my world!
Alright, what is going on, everybody? Today I have another Marvel Rivals video for you today. And today, this video, I wanted to make this video specifically for us tank players. If you're a tank player, please make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, because this video is for you and me. I basically wanted to vent about, I want to know if you guys have been experiencing this thing, because I've been experiencing it for quite a while. People don't like or want to play tanks. What's up with that? I haven't counted, but I believe there's more tanks than supports, and yet even then people would much rather play triple support over picking a second tank. Now I personally prefer playing tank because that's the role that I feel most comfortable with. However, I do tend to flex a lot too. Like if we need a support, I'll just play support. If we need a DPS, I'll gladly play DPS, right? But for the most part, I tend to do the best with tanks. I quite honestly don't understand this, but it's really interesting because it's something that I've noticed quite profoundly once Devil Dinosaur came out, and it's a really interesting phenomenon, and I'm just now noticing it. When a new character drops, for example, in this example, we're gonna take Devil Dinosaur as an example, right? Devil Dinosaur comes out, everybody wants to play him because he's the new like character and whatnot, right? And he's quite easy to play. Like he's really easy to play. So obviously everyone's gonna want to play Devil Dinosaur, but what happens is, let's say someone like me, I pick Devil Dinosaur, 4 other people want to play Devil Dinosaur, but obviously I locked them in first, no one else can pick them. All those 4 people that wanted to play Devil Dinosaur immediately swap to their champ Spider-Mans or whatever, and just play and they just swap the roles completely. They'd much rather play the different roles than to just pick a second tank and be like, okay, well, this guy, you know, picked Devil Dinosaur, let me play a second tank. Like, nope, everybody picked DPS, and then by the end of the character select screen, we end up with like triple support at some point because I'm the only one tanking. And I'm like, bro, like, I don't know if it's just me, but as far as I'm concerned, tanks are not like garbage, right? Am I crazy? I know Hulk is pretty crazy, right? Hulk is really strong, and it just really piques my interest because it's this weird, I feel unease that a character like Devil Dinosaur comes out, right? And I do appreciate him coming out the way he did, even though I do, objectively speaking, think that at the end of the day he deserved the nerf. Now the problem with that is that, one, it sucks for players like me who mainly like to play tanks, a role that now currently I tend to believe currently is the least played role, right? I think supports have gotten so many buffs to the point, not just in heals, but also in survivability, neutral game, and even damage, right? Like you'll see a lot of DPS Lunas for some reason trying to get kills. But yeah, people would much rather play like triple support and just play support when, you know, I played the game long enough to know that for a very long time, people didn't even want to touch support. People didn't want to play healer. But once healers were able to actually fight back and actually do quite a bit of damage themselves, it turns out that most people would much rather just pick a support than to play a tank. Now, I don't know about y'all, but you know, there's a lot of good characters that can also do quite a bit of damage in the tank form, right? Like, for example, Thor, Magneto, and even Groot. Groot hasn't really been touched in a long time. Like, I don't even remember the last time Groot got touched. I think like they nerfed the health of his walls or something like that, and then they buffed his like his normal attack, right? Like the range on his vine attack, like the primary fire, and that's about it. But Groot is still really good. But anyways, back to Devil Dinosaur. Devil Dinosaur only lasted a month, if you really think about it. Devil Dinosaur, he came out, he was relatively strong, right? He was pretty strong. Even though I would come into the defense and say, if you're a DPS player, you should know what characters to use to counter Devil Dinosaur, right? One of them being Moon Knight, the other one being Punisher, Shotgun Punisher, the other one being Iron Fist, and even tanks. Like, you can easily play Emma, right? And I guess Rogue, not so much, because Rogue wasn't as good as she is now, right? But still, there are a lot of things that you can play to somewhat counteract Devil Dinosaur, or just play Dinosaur yourself. But mainly the main point of this video is to mainly kind of ask the question as to why people don't want to play tanks. What is going on? What is happening? Like, this whole like solo tank experience is kind of annoying. It really is something really interesting, right? Because obviously there's way more DPS characters in the game. And honestly, like, I think we should go a whole year without getting any DPS characters. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm just tired of you, like, champ Spider-Mans and champ BPs thinking you hot shit just to do nothing, just to play the fucking Marvel Insomniac game, just swinging around the map doing nothing. I honestly like don't really understand this like thing of like needing to auto-lock DPS, thinking you're going to be the main character to just end up doing nothing at all. And you guys can correct me on this because I'm not like a game designer, engineer, or whatever, right? I'm just a gamer, right? I just play the game and I just say what I feel and think. But as far as I'm concerned, because there's many more DPS characters than any other role, you would think that you would have like more options to counter, you know, or to adapt to the situation at hand. But it turns out that it's just more so like people just being an egotistical assholes and not really wanting to swap or anything like that. Not that like they don't want to swap from their champs and their lords and whatnot. Like I don't understand. This is why like stuff like lords and champs, I'll probably make a separate video on this, but I hate you guys. You guys are fucking annoying. Making champs in this game is cool, but goddamn, it was the worst decision ever. Because a lot of you motherfuckers think you hot shit, bro. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all champ motherfuckers, y'all ain't shit. But that's besides the point. I just find it really interesting that a tank player such as myself are now starting to feel a lot of what the support players were going through in the earlier days of Marvel Rivals, where although I don't believe it's getting to a point or has gotten to a point. It probably won't even ever get to a point where we're gonna go on strike or whatever the fuck, right? In the same way that the support players ended up doing. And I just like, because like I said, I've been playing the game since the early access or the early beta and whatnot, right? So I've pretty much experienced a lot of the overall general sentiment of the community and how people tend to shift their minds into playing a certain way and the way they like navigate and adapt to certain, you know, situations. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting that we're now as tank players in a situation where we have to cover for a lot of the DPS's mistakes, right? Because the whole point of tank is to create space. But what's the point of creating space if the DPS isn't going to take advantage of it, right? Also, another problem that has been grinding my gears a little bit is the fact that characters like Adam Warlock, Mantis, and not so much Ultron, but he's kind of almost there. Like, it's just generally pretty annoying, right? That a lot of these DPS players are so quick to auto-lock DPS just to go negative, or even worse, just to play like I said earlier, like just to play the Insomniac Spider-Man game and do nothing, right? And then that's when us tank players and, you know, support players come together and have to like cover for a lot of their mistakes. Especially now that a lot of the characters this season in particular are in this 8.5. A lot of the DPSs that a lot of people tend to have gotten carried with got nerfed, right? Daredevil got nerfed. He's still strong. I mean, they didn't nerf his damage, but they definitely nerfed his engagement, his survivability and whatnot, and those things are very important as well. They nerfed the range of Jean Grey, which, I mean, that's okay. That's alright. It's an alright nerf. It's not too crazy. Cyclops is relatively, he's pretty strong. I wouldn't say he's broken, but he's pretty strong. I do think they need to nerf his hit scan a little bit, like his primary fire. But that's about it. But trust me when I say I can't like really stand a lot of you guys that play an auto-lock DPS, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Y'all garbage, bro. Like y'all need to pick up Cap or some shit, bro. Like pick up Hulk, bro. Hulk is really strong. A lot of people are starting to complain about Hulk when it's like, it's the Devil Dinosaur effect, right? Where it's like, a really strong tank comes out. Finally, we got a pretty fun tank, right? That can do stuff. And people immediately want him nerfed. And it's like, bro, you don't even play this fucking role, bro. You know how like hard it is to like, you know how happy people like me feel when we finally get a really strong tank that people actually want to play? When we get a character for a certain role that's not DPS, that's really, really good, really strong, people are going to want to play him. But people, I guess it's like this like cause and effect thing, like domino effect or some shit, where it's just like, because the majority of people don't play this role, they tend to complain a lot more about that role than anything, right? It's kind of like supports, where it's like DPS players will complain about not getting healed all the time, when it's like, bro, you're diving in a team of 6 people in the back. Yeah, you're gonna die. Like, I'm sorry, I can't make you immune to damage. I just can't get to you because you're out there taking too much damage. or you're too far for me to heal you. And thus, DPS players tend to complain a lot about not getting healed. Like, they spam the fucking I need healing button so fucking fast, and it's like, bro, like, fuck you, bro. Like, I'm trying. What do you want me to do, bro? But yeah, it's kind of like in a similar effect with us tank players now, where it's like, bro, like, we're doing everything we can, but when you are not taking advantage of the space that we're creating, you tend to complain a lot about you know, the overall character in and of itself. Like, the reason I love playing Devil Dinosaur is because we finally had a really good counter to someone like Daredevil. Daredevil can't deflect Devil Dinosaur's like his bites. Right, his bites, he can't deflect it. And not just that, but then you can grab him, and it's like, oh shit, like, Daredevil has a strong counter now. This is really, really interesting. Finally, this broken, annoying fucking character finally has a counter for the role that I play. This is really interesting. This is really cool. I love this. And he still is, by the way. I still play Devil Dinosaur. It's just funny, the process, right? The process that goes within this video game of how people tend to point fingers and blame, you know, certain characters when they just got released. And a lot of times I tend to point at people such as Guang Guang, or whoever the fuck is in charge of the balance, and Xiang, or whoever's in charge. A character like White Fox. I fucking hate White Fox, bro. I never hated a character so damn much in my fucking life. Not even Gambit. I hate Gambit. Not so much now because he got nerfed, whatever, but a character like White Fox? God damn, I hate that bitch, bro. Like, I only have 28 minutes on her. I don't like playing that character, and I hate seeing her playing against her. That's besides the point. But my point was that White Fox got buffed not even a damn week into her release, and now everyone is finally starting to like learn how to play this character, right? Actually learn how to use this character, and now she's actually pretty strong. Really, really strong. Is she broken? No, but she's really damn fucking strong, especially for a support, because her survivability is like a 10 out of 10. But then we have someone like, you know, Black Cat. Black Cat is really damn fucking strong. I would even say broken. She's in a broken tier list, bro. She's on the top. SSS, whatever the fuck. And it took her 2 months. 2 damn fucking months for her to get this nerf, alright? It took Devil Dinosaur to come out. And then when Cyclops came out, that's 2 months, right? That's when they decided to nerf Black Cat. Now, in terms of, I don't agree the way they nerfed her. I think they broke her a little too much, bro. They shot her in the back of the head, bro. I personally don't. Like, I think she received a little too much nerfs. Like, I felt bad reading her, like, the patch notes. I felt bad. I'm like, damn, they really nerfed you like that, bro? That's crazy. But the point is, like, Black Cat lasted 2 months. Devil Dinosaur lasted 1 month, bro. 1 fucking month. How the fuck? That's insane. You guys are seriously gonna go out of your way to buff a support character in less than a week, nerf a broken DPS character within 2 months, at 2 months exactly. But for a tank, a brand new tank, it's gonna take you 1 month. Like, damn, bro, that's kind of crazy. I feel a little targeted a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the biggest deal in the world, for me at least, but it's just, like I said, it's just funny because I see and I record the process, and just when you see it all in a timeline, you're like, huh, this is really interesting. There's really interesting patterns that's going on with the game, and, you know, how they deal with like favoritism and whatnot. But yeah, I think that in and of itself is deserving of its own video, right? I was actually planning on doing a how they can rework Black Widow, what they can do with like Black Panther, why they're scared of buffing characters like Black Panther and Widow. But I think those characters don't necessarily need buffs. They need reworks for in a positive direction, right? Because obviously no one wants Widow to one-shot. I think that's pretty obvious and pretty clear why nobody wants that. But at the same time, Widow hasn't gotten touched in like 6 months. Like, how many seasons has it been since like she was even mentioned in the patch notes? I don't know. Another video I was also planning on doing was this whole notion of pro players and why NetEase, Wang Wang, Xiang, they need to stop listening to these fucking pro players, bro. I'm gonna do a whole separate video on that, don't you worry. I'm not a fan of these motherfucking pro play. It's not that I'm not a fan of pro players or pro play in general. I'm not a fan of how pro play is a major equation and factor that takes into account when it comes to balancing this game. And I'll make a separate video on that because I think it's really important. They need to stop catering to pro players. That's gonna be literally my next video. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for today's video. I just wanted to come in here as a tank player and say, hey, support players, I know what you're going through or what you've been through, because now we're kind of going through that ourselves. And yeah, as a tank player, I just want more people to play tanks, which is why I was hoping that Cyclops would have been a tank when he came out, or at the very least a support. But here we are, right? And then Jubilee in the Hood is coming out. Who knows? DPS. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.